another day. All right, let's ride. 3. Dead ass. Facts be. Fact number 1. Punching another football helmet makes no goddamn sense. Let me repeat. Punching another football player in the fucking football helmet makes no sense. You will only hurt your hand and possibly lose some playing time, thereby affecting your own team. We saw this a couple of weeks ago with AJ Green and Jalen Ramsey. Punching Jalen Ramsey's football helmet got AJ Green nothing. He looked like a sucker grabbing the man from behind, and then punching his football helmet made him look even dumber. So, let me repeat. Punching a football helmet makes no sense. Dead-ass fact number 2. The Florida State Seminoles beat the Florida Gators for the 5th year in a row. The Florida State Seminoles beat the Florida Gators for the 5th year in a row. We still owe y'all for that 6th streak, but we chasing y'all. We on y'all ass. Dead-ass fact number 3. People who use bare public toilet seats are disgusting. I'm going to repeat this. If you raw dog a public toilet seat, you are fucking disgusting. Get your life together, wipe it down, cover it up, or just go home. 3. Dead ass. Facts be. No playing this ride. Welcome back, welcome one, welcome all. No playing this ride. Hosted by Blackout. This is number 8, I want to say. And real quick, I'm going to ask for a little advice because I'm struggling with something. So I want to promote my little podcast to the best of my ability, but I'm kind of struggling with it. So if you have any tips, let me know. I'm open to it. Like, my biggest audience is my personal Facebook account, and I really don't want to exploit people and spam them all the way, crushing them with me putting my podcast up every 5 minutes. I'll do it every now and again, but I don't really want to push it too much because then I might lose people I like interacting with. So if you got any tips, man, please hook me up, guide me, help me grow my brand, fam. Help your boy out. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of news. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is there was an interview I saw, a clip of an interview, where they had the cat Tariq Nasheed on there, the guy who was responsible for Hidden Colors. So if you haven't heard of Hidden Colors, it's basically a documentary that shows the struggle of black people. That's what I'm going to give you in a nutshell. And it has people who are familiar with black history dating back to Africa, and the slave trade and then segregation, Jim Crow, and all the trash and bullshit we endured during our time in America, and it'll give you some insight on how we feel or why we feel a certain way about certain things. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about this interview we had with Laura Ingraham from Fox News. And I know you guys are probably thinking, oh, Fox News, it was probably some bullshit. Yeah, you're exactly right. So I'm going to tell you what happened. So in the interview, she was talking to him about systematic racism. And he made it clear to say that he doesn't like to say white people. He likes to make sure he labels things white supremacists. And then they got into systematic racism, and she basically was trying to figure out, she's like, how do we fix this? And he was going on about how he was saying, like, it's not people, it's the system. Things are set up a certain type of way. And then she did the first rebuttal a lot of people do, when they talk about black people, which kind of shows you why we are where we at. And the first thing she acknowledged was the NBA and the NFL. And he was like, well, if you look at it, it's owned by white people. So they're referring to the players as inmates and slaves. So that's exactly, she basically proved this point. Like, yeah, they're successful, but they're in like maybe even the 1% of black people who are successful in that arena. But that's always pushed out there. But they still work for white men. It's not like we own really any part of that industry. So one of her rebuttals was, why don't they work harder? And he was like, well, you mean black people don't work hard? And then she immediately got defensive, like, no, that's not what I was saying. He's like, but that's exactly what you just said. So if you guys catch it, it's funny because Laura Ingraham got caught slipping and they basically just cut him off and kept going. They just killed the interview and she's like, you're not going to put words in my mouth. And I'm looking like, no, bitch, you put the words in your mouth because that's exactly what you just said. And she sat there looking stupid and then they segued into something else. It was sad that they're still doing that, funny that she got caught, but it just goes to show that people still think the way they think. So, keeping up with this politics, man. It's still getting a little crazy out here with the sexual assault stuff. I'm not going to get too much into it. I think Al Franken had another accuser. I'm not too sure. I do know that Conyers steps down as the ranking member of the Judiciary Committee for the Democrats amid sexual harassment claims. So, hits are still coming, man. These guys ain't learning. We're not paying attention. We don't have our lives together, so it's going to continue to be like that. It's going to keep getting dumber and dumber, and hopefully we flush these guys out. But I talked about that enough. We guys all know, keep your hands to yourself, and maybe you won't kill your fucking career like a lot of these idiots are doing. But I just saw it in the news, and I figured I'd let you guys know that it's not just Republicans. A lot of people are creeps, and it's never people you expect, but it's always people you expect. Like, oh, he looks grandfatherly, a nice guy. Yeah, most old men are creeps. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. A lot of old men are creeps. So don't be surprised if the 60-year-old man groped some young girl. That just seems to be the move. That's how it's been going for years. It's not acceptable, but that's what happens. So even though they look innocent, watch your ass, ladies, literally, because these old mans are creep and they're fucking crazy. In other news, out in Virginia, there's a pastor charged with Thanksgiving Day killing of his family. So apparently this cat killed his wife, his stepdaughter, and her boyfriend. I don't know what was going on in the household, but apparently he wasn't happy on Thanksgiving. Maybe the food wasn't good, maybe the turkey was dry, maybe the macaroni was fucked up, maybe the greens had hot dogs in it. I don't know what happened, but yeah, man, homie flipped out and killed his people. So now they about to light him up, man, and rightfully so. Don't kill your family. That's bad. I don't know if you don't know this or not, but being a man of the cloth, you should know killing your family will get you in some serious trouble on earth and in the afterlife. So let his mistake be a lesson. And speaking of Thanksgiving, man, I actually had a pretty good one for those interested. If you care, if you don't, I don't care. I'm going to let you know anyway. But I'm surrounded by some black excellence, some people who I know in places I would like to be in one day, some black people who've made successes out of themselves. So I like to be around them. A couple of older cats, I get to sit around them and listen. So we did our thing at the crib, and then we slid up to Irvine in Southern California, for those who don't know. And we hung out with some folks and got a little bit of game, got some pseudo family time. It was cool. I look forward to doing that whenever I can. So, yeah, hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. We had lots of shit, all types of delicious turkey, baked macaroni, greens, yams. Oh, yams. Good-ass yams. Brownies. Did I say ham? Did I say greens? Beans, tomatoes, whatever. But it was good. I enjoyed myself, and I look forward to hanging out with family again because I miss it. So, speaking of Thanksgiving, what happens at Thanksgiving? Sports, football. It's been crazy. College football has been ridiculous. Nobody is safe. That coaching carousel is spinning like a goddamn roller coaster. Everybody's getting fired. I think the SEC opened up like 7 jobs. And I know the Gators were trying to get the guy Frost from UCF, who surprised everybody, going like 11-0. I think they were like 0-11 last year, and now they're 11-0, and mad because they're not getting that playoff break. But at a Power 5 school, you just kind of got to deal with it. But it's cool to see, smaller schools make it. But the thing that sucks about it is that when a smaller school makes it, their coach usually gets poached by one of the Big Five conferences. So they don't stay strong for a long time. Like, how Boise State did, how they came up, and then TCU came up to the point that they eventually got added into the Big 12 conference. So it's good to see it, man, but it's sad because you got to think about these coaches that have been at these schools for a long time, and then out the blue, some of them get fired, and they didn't even get the time to really build the roster. Like, a lot of these coaches have been there for a minute. Like the guy, they fired this black head coach in Texas A&M. They got him out of there. Who else was it? Florida had Randy Shannon as an interim coach. Shout out to Florida State for beating that ass. But they decided to move on, and they were trying to get Frost, but they ended up getting the guy from, I think, Mississippi State or Ole Miss. They got one of those coaches. I think it's Ole Miss. They ended up snatching the guy from Ole Miss because I guess they weren't going to get Frost. And everybody's talking about Frost going back to Nebraska because apparently that's where he played ball. And like the old coach is telling him it's time to come home. So we'll see if he stays at UCF. Me personally, I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, you got the weather, you got recruiting down there in Florida. I know you got to compete with the big three schools in Florida, but with you going 11-0, you're going to get the guys who want to start that probably won't start at Miami, UF, or Florida State, and you already have a pretty decent rivalry now with USF, with Charlie Strong being down there. Shout out to Charlie Strong for bouncing back after get fired in Texas on some bullshit. Shout out to him for bouncing back and being ranked higher than Texas right now. Goes to show it's not always the coach. Sometimes it's the program and the people surrounding that program. So shout out to him. So if I'm Coach Frost, I mean, hey, your competition is going to be a little bit easier. You'll be a legend at UCF because you took them 11-0. Kids are going to want to come play for you. You got a built-in rivalry right there in the state of Florida. I really don't see the reason to move other than, Nebraska kind of being home. And they're probably going to cut that check. I'm pretty sure they're going to cut that check. So that is some motivation, but in my personal opinion, I feel like homeboy should stay there. Also, Chip Kelly ended up getting a job at UCLA, and I think that's a good look. He was back in the Pac-12 where he's familiar. People are going to want to come play for him. They want to play fast. Right there in California, he also has, 3 built-in rivalries there. He has UCLA, USC. Well, he's with UCLA, so he'll have Cal, Stanford, USC, maybe Fresno State, San Diego State, all those teams to play, especially that Oregon game is going to be big. His first game back at Oregon is going to be big because they're not where they were when he was there. They're kind of down right now. So Oregon's probably losing a lot of recruits to Washington and Washington State. So with him coming down to UCLA, they'll probably lose even more. So we'll see what happens when UCLA and Oregon play next year. I'm going to be looking forward to that game. Hopefully I can catch. Who else got a new job? I'm forgetting somebody. I know Jim Moore's looking for a job because he was coaching at UCLA. Let his ass go. But, yeah, there's a lot. I think it was mostly the SEC. I think it's mostly the SEC got people out of there. And I really don't care. As long as Jimbo don't go nowhere, I'm good. People calling for Jimbo's head. I'm like, nah, bro. Quarterback whisperer. We need Jimbo. He's saving us money on having an offensive coordinator, man. He's coaching the boys up. I like him because he don't let nothing go. When the QB is the face of the QB the face of the team. So you come off the field making a mistake, Jimbo right there in his ass like, hey, this is where you fucked up. This is what you need to not do again. Why did you miss that guy? I'd rather see a coach do that than a coach just let a guy walk to the sideline. This is the head coach. And to me, that shows that he believes in the player. Like, I believe I can coach this guy. Because if he didn't, he would just let that guy walk to the sideline, wouldn't he speak to him. So shout out to Jimbo Fisher. Please don't go nowhere. We need you. Stay there. Stay at Florida State. Our quarterback will be back soon, and we'll be right back in the playoffs, baby, for all the haters out there, all the guys who are having, those schools that are having their first real good season in like 20 years. So we'll see what happens when my nose get back and they get to getting shit cracking again. So, yeah, it's been a really weird year in college football, but I do want to say something about it, though, because I've been thinking, and this goes for all sports, and it's something that's been kind of bothering me, and I think about, the lack of support on TV for, like, the HBCU teams, the black colleges, of course, because I was watching the FAM and BCC game, which BCC won for, like, the 7th year in a row. So shout out to Bethune-Cookman, FAM. Y'all got to get y'all shit together. But something I was thinking about was bothering me, man. It's like we, as consumers, and I mean black people, minorities, whatever, we watch these games, and something that just, like, I don't know why I just thought about it, but I'm looking at the field, and then I look at the crowd, and I see all these black players on the field, and I see all these white people in the crowd. And something about that kind of bothered me. It reminded me of like the gladiator times. And I know, it's not exactly that. They aren't slaves, so to speak. They're free. They can leave the team if they want to or whatever. But it just made me think about the perspective of it. Like, damn, if black people decided to put all this energy towards, the HBCUs, maybe those schools will be more prominent in athletics or wherever, but we don't seem to support those schools. I know a lot of it has to do with exposure. And, in order to get to the league, these guys have to go to these big schools, like mainly the Power 5 conference schools. So I was just kind of conflicted about it. Like, man, I should be putting as much support as I, give vocally to Florida State and wanted myself to go to Florida State. Maybe I should be focusing on FAM. Maybe I should focus on Bethune-Cookman. Maybe I should focus on Central State. Maybe if we did that, we'd have more people inclined to go to those schools. Because I was watching something a while back, and it was like a YouTube video or Facebook or something where they were talking about the importance of the historical black colleges and how back in the day when you had shows like A Different World and Martin, the Cosby Show, how they had people wearing the gear from these historical black colleges, and it was was giving awareness to young black kids about these schools. Because like now these kids might not know, if you're coming from the West Coast, you might not know shit about Spelman. You might not know about Howard. You might not know about North Carolina A&T. You might not know about FAM. Because I'm on the West Coast right now, and I don't think there are any historical black colleges out here. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I'd like to know. But it's just something, it's a thought I had, man, and it kind of bothered me that, I'm not going to say we blindly throw all this, support behind these big universities because we like the sports, as if we don't even attend. But in a way, we kind of do, because we don't put that same energy into the black colleges. Yet we want to be on that same playing field. So it's just a thought I had, man. So keeping with sports, I recently heard something about how the whole thing with the president and LeVar Ball, that boy said he was going to send Old 45 a pair of those zone number 2s so he can kick back and relax, man. I think TMZ caught him coming out of a restaurant or something, he was talking about it. I also heard something else. I couldn't really get to confirm it, but I did hear something about the situation they said happening, not actually happening like that. Like apparently Brody had nothing to do with them getting released. They weren't even in jail. They were at a hotel. So a lot of people thought they were locked up. And that was the impression that the media gave everybody. And I don't know if that's, I think, the media kind of has a vendetta out against LeVar Ball. And I would understand that. He's brash and he's unconventional. But the man is finding out a way to put his kids on the platform. So, hey, if you don't like it, tough shit, you kind of got to deal with it. But they were making it sound like these kids were locked up in jail, and that wasn't the case. They were staying at a hotel. So either way, I hope the kids learned a lesson. LiAngelo fucked up because he had the least amount of reason to steal. You got brother in the league. That just didn't make any sense. But it goes to show that anybody can succumb to, peer pressure. Whether he was the ringleader or not, it just goes to show when you out away from your normal environment with people and you don't have anybody watching you, people think they can get away with stuff and you can get jammed up. So hopefully learn from that and they went on their way about exposing homeboy and saying that, yeah, he didn't do what he said he did. Yeah, he out here asking for people to thank him. Don't work like that, man. Sorry. NBA, I don't really have nothing on the NBA other than the Cavs being disappointing, the Celtics still being surprising. I did get their win streak snapped by the Heat, though. And I think in the next couple of years, the Heat are going to be a problem because they got Hassan Whiteside to hold down the middle. They got that rookie. I don't know if he went. I can't remember if he went to UConn or Kentucky, but he's a body. He's like a banger. So they got the power forward. They got Justice Winslow. So you got a wing defender. They got Dion Waiters, who's putting up buckets, and I think Dragic is still down there. So they got a little squad, and I would be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs because the East is trash. So they should definitely make the playoffs. So now hopefully they go far and help the conference look a little better. Shine a little bit more light on the East because the West is killing shit right now, and it doesn't look like it matters who gets to the finals. They're gonna get beat. And I'm looking to probably see Houston and the Warriors in their conference finals in the West. If not, I feel like San Antonio will get this shit together because Tony Parker's coming back. I think this weekend he'll be coming back from his hamstring injury. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of it shakes out. Now, the last episode I talked about my Bulls and how I feel like their PR person should get a raise. Their social media, whoever's in charge of their media and their public affairs basically, and how they're perceived by the rest of the world. And I still believe that because they had the unmitigated gall to put out a bum ass highlight clip of fucking Denzel Washington disgracing that number 45 jersey, putting up some points. I'm like, my G, y'all got beat 143 till it don't matter. You let up another team put up 143 points on you. Whatever you scored don't even really matter because there was no chance of you catching up. And I understand it's Golden State. That's what they do. And that's what the Bulls are trying to do. The difference is they have the talent for that. You can't nobody can guard anybody. Y'all don't see screens coming because I'm assuming that's what happened. Like, there were a lot of screens being thrown and no communication was going on. And you're just comfortable being blown out. And I get that they're trying to tank, I guess, which I think is a disgrace. I feel like you should always try to win. But they're trying to tank to get a high draft pick. I don't think they'll need any help with that because the team is garbage. But come on, man. Play like you got some self-respect. To me, I don't care how high the team gets. Having 143 points put up on you in 4 quarters is piss fucking poor. Piss poor. I don't care if they shot threes every 3 seconds. You can't get a rebound. You can't communicate that a screen's coming. You can't play any type of defense. It's almost like they're trying to, to break records for being sorry. And forgive me if I talk about this a lot, but as a born Bulls fan, it's something that means a lot to me. And it's putting a black eye on the franchise, man. They need to get Gar Paxson the fuck out of there. Get Hoiberg out of there. Everybody. Whoever works in the cafeteria, the trainers, get all of them the fuck out of there, man. They need to be gone. They should never be able to look at basketball ever again in their life. You can't watch no games. You got to watch bowling and golf or something. You should never touch a basketball again in your life. And I held back about talking about this out of my love for John Paxson for hitting that 3-point shot in the finals and, being a good guard for the Bulls. But at this point, nah, fuck him, man. Fuck him and fuck his brother Jim too. Because I'm tired of this shit. They're making the organization look bad. It's terrible, man. It's really pitiful. So I hope whatever they're trying to do ends up working out. But I also hope they get fired. And me personally, I'm willing to endure another losing season if it's because they all got terminated and you got to bring in a whole new regime. I would wholeheartedly support that. Them boys got to get up out of that, man. It's terrible. Man, they're making it hard to watch. And my Lakers, my other team, they're struggling too. And I'm not going to lie. Wow, the Lakers are exciting to watch. Sometimes it's like, come on, man. You're not going to even look to see if anybody else is open. I know Lonzo was always looking, but in my opinion, sometimes he looks a little bit too much. He needs to take these shots. And I'm fine with him going 5 for 12. I really am. I'm fine with it because he's going to have to shoot his way out of this. He's going to have to figure it out. You got to put your big boy draws on and go out there and get shit cracking. You got your own shoe. You got to play like it. I still believe that he could be Rookie of the Year. Now, do I think it's as likely as I once thought it was? No. But I still think in the 82-game season, if he can get it together and get his jumper together and get out of this slump and get his confidence back, he'll be good, especially if the Lakers win some games. So he's going to take these lumps in like the first few months of the season, but hopefully he gets it right. I'm going to predict that he's going to get it right after the All-Star break. We'll see what happens. We will see. What else we got going on in sports, man? I don't even know. The Russian dude, the guy who lost to Andre Ward, I caught the replay of his fight. He got homeboy out of there. 2 rounds. And I didn't catch the very first fight, but I caught the fight in the middle, and that shit was boring. I fell asleep on that. It was trash. And then I got to the other fight, and then that was over in 2 rounds. So I'm glad I didn't, spend my night watching that whole shit because I'd been pissed off. I did watch Kong, though. And Kong was, I didn't want to watch it at first, but, my old lady was like, hey, come on, let's do the family time thing. Let's watch this movie. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens, man. And I'm familiar with King Kong. I didn't watch the old ones. But, seeing that big-ass monkey up there wrecking shop it was cool. Like, he was tearing shit up. Because in the beginning, I didn't, like, the movie kind of flipped. I didn't think it was going to go how it was going to go. Because, like I said, he appeared sooner than I thought. Usually in movies like that, the main animal or monster, whatever, you don't see it show up towards the end. They might show a glimpse. They might show a little something else. But nah, he got it cracking from the very beginning, man. It was cool. I like it. Will I watch it again? probably not. It was cool to see Samuel L. Jackson do his thing. But yeah, it was overall, it was okay. If you ain't got shit going on, give it a look. It ain't gonna hurt you, man. But it was a cool little movie. But other than that, it's been a fantastic weekend, man. Hopefully these Jags win on Sunday. My Noles won. Had a good Thanksgiving. I'm giving you guys too much of my personal right now. But I figure, I put a little light on it. Because it was good. Positivity out there in the air. Some good vibes. And like I said, man, if you guys can always hit me up on the social media. It's NoPlay247 at Twitter. So it's capital N, lowercase o, capital P-L-A-Y. Hit me up, man. If you like what I'm doing, let me know. If you don't, let me know. But please be nice about it, because I'm trying to do this on my own, really, with no hand holding. So let me know how I can do it, and be nice about it, because I'm trying to be a good dude on here. But trust me, I'm still a nigga from Florida, and I will roast your ass if I can. If I can. So just trust me, I will tear that ass up. So if you come at me the wrong way, I got some fire for you, man. Just saying. So, like I did last week, and since I'm not putting the spotlight on anybody right now, I will go ahead and do another podcast review. But before I do that, I will say, be on the lookout, man. I got some partners of mine from the job, and these cats they're interested in doing their own podcast. So I don't have the names for them yet. But when I get the names for them, I'm gonna put you guys on, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be dope, and it's not gonna be a bunch of bullshit, because it's two guys who I feel like have their head together. Two young guys. I know one's already went to school and completed school. He's doing something else right now, but I think he's gonna get back on his journey real soon. And I'm going to say I think his is gonna be more motivational than anything. But he's a real sharp dude. My man, he does poetry and everything. He's a real sharp dude. I respect him a lot. So when I get the name for his shit, I'm going to definitely put it out that you guys can listen to it. It's good to see a young black man doing stuff like that, and not, being arrogant about it. He's doing it, but I think his sole thing behind it is he wants to motivate other people to unlock their great. So, and I'm be honest with you, seeing him have the courage to do what he did, and to step out, do his poetry thing, and put it out on social media and do it in front of people was one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because, once you watch somebody else, unlock some of their greatness, it puts a little, it puts a little envy into you. You want to do something too. So, he's a small part of the reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, in turn, I'm going to encourage him to pursue this, because I really think he needs to get that message out. And I think it's important for young black men to hear that, to see somebody who came from those circumstances, went to school, and he's coming out of it. Good family dude, man. So I hope you guys get on that and enjoy it. So as soon as I get the name for it, I'll put the link in the description for my podcast. So if you guys listen to mine, you can just go click directly on his and go straight to his shit. Also, I got another dude, another young black cat, another sharp dude, who's gonna do another one. It's gonna be based on finance, which I think is excellent, because I know I'm gonna listen, because my finances ain't the worst, but they damn straight the best, and I know I could soak up some of this game. So I'm going to definitely listen to it. And it's good to see, like I said before, it's good to see a young black man doing that, stepping out there and put something else into the world. And I hope people listen to it and gravitate towards it, because who doesn't like money? I don't know a person on this earth that doesn't like money or doesn't need money. So hopefully people listen to it. I'm going to do whatever I can to help and promote that, because I think financial literacy is definitely needed in the black community, especially among young people. So hopefully you young cats, because I know some of y'all who know me know him, and my man, he's not coming from a place of ignorance. He eats books. He recently started a Facebook page. It's like, I forgot what it's called, but they're trying to do like a book a week challenge, which is also fantastic. So hopefully my man puts his shit together real soon and gets it out there so he can promote it and get it to the people, because we need that. Shit, I know I can benefit from it. I'm not in the poorhouse by any means, but damn, who don't want to have more money or want to know how to manipulate their money better and make their money work for them? We didn't all have that moment where you gotta get that call and you don't know, like, why does number keep calling me? And quick pro tip, I learned, and I feel like an idiot about this, because I've had cell phones for a long time and just thought about, damn, when this mysterious number keep calling me, why just block the motherfucker? So if you got an iTunes, just go to the number, hit the little button and block that bitch, because I felt like a dummy. Like, I keep hanging up on this motherfucker when I could just block calling me about some bullshit, asking me for some damn money. You'll get it when I got it. So just block them. Don't be like me, because they call my phone. I got I would just scream sometimes to get the people off my phone. They call me, we're looking for blah 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 whoop, and I would just scream in the phone until they hung up to keep them from calling me. Or they call me and I pretend like I'm African. They call me, we're looking for Mr. Black. Hey, who is this? I don't know who you are looking for. I'm trying to feed my baby. Leave me alone right now. And I would just hang up the phone. It's fun, and it sounds terrible, but it's actually kind of fun for me. So, because a lot of the times they calling me asking for fucking Tanya. I'm like, well, this ain't Tanya's goddamn phone. So I don't know if she had this number before, but she didn't pay the bill. I'm paying for it now. I'm current. I'm caught up. Leave me the fuck alone. But I had to learn to just block those people. So, yeah, there's going to be a motivational podcast coming out by a young black man, and there's going to be a financial literacy podcast coming out by another young black man, and I'm going to do my damnedest to promote that shit. So, in a nutshell, that's what I was going. So now I'm going to get into my podcast review of one of my favorite podcasts since I've become a consumer of them recently, and podcast aficionado. What's the word I'm looking for? Connoisseur. I've become a podcast connoisseur. And the one I'm going to talk to you guys about today is called What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito. It's about 30 minutes long, and they talk about a little bit of everything. But most important part to me are the hosts of this. So Stretch and Bobbito Garcia are two New Yorkers, right? And they're a real integral part of New York City hip-hop. They're like legends in the hip-hop scene based out of the East Coast, and well, especially New York City. Especially Bobbito. Cool Bob Love, Bobbito Garcia. If you played like the first NBA Street, he's basically the guy on the mic going through it. He's a street ball legend in New York City. He became a filmmaker, and I think Stretch Armstrong has DJ'd all over the world and made mixtapes. So if you get a chance to check it out, it's called What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito. They have guests come on. The show is about, I say it's about a 30-minute show, and they have a lot of guests come on, and it just guests from different areas, but guests kind of from their era. A lot of the guests they have on the show are their personal friends who have been with them on their journey, who they've been in contact with, and they just talk about what's going on today. They do the normal interview thing. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? But the thing about the show to me that's so cool is that these two cats came from nothing. Well, I think Stretch might have had a little bit of cheese, but Bobbito and them, they didn't really come from a lot, but they came together as friends, and they've been successful in this industry for a long time. And that's one thing that's hard to come by in the music industry, the success. And they both had to be diverse. They had to be, especially Bobbito, he had to be a chameleon in the game and learn how to, he had to unlock his own greatness, I'll say, and been able to, affect people all over the world by the things they do. So I think it's great. I think the people they have on there, or they have artists on there, they have political figures on there, they have rappers on there, and to get the insight from people who came before our generation before us, and see where they are now, and people that we may not even heard of, but we can be exposed to through this show, I think it's fantastic, man. So if you can listen, if you got 30 minutes, check it out. It's pretty informative. It's cool. And it gives you that, that 90s hip hop feel when you listen to it. Like, if you were around for that era, if not, you should definitely check it out because it might grow you up a little bit. One of the parts on there I like that they do is just called the impression session. So the impression session is when they have the guest on, both of them will play a song, right? But they won't tell the guest what the song is. And they just basically add like, hey, we're going to play some music for you. We can let it play as long as you need to. And you can tell us if you like it, if you don't like it, how do you feel about it? Just to kind of see what the guest provides, like how they feel about the vibe of the song or the content. Or does it take them a certain place in time? Is it a new song? Is it an older song? Just it lets the guest give some perspective on how that song makes them feel. And I do believe it's tailored to the guest a lot of the time, but sometimes it may or may not be. I know they've had Regina King on there, they've had Rosie Perez and her husband on there, they've had a few other artists on there. Well, I can't remember all their names, but it's a good show. You should check it out. I don't know why I graded next to Ear Hustle, but it's pretty good. And also, they have a documentary on Netflix, and this may be better for if you're not familiar with them. And if you are, if you're a hip-hop head, you should definitely check out this documentary they have on Netflix. It's actually called Stretch and Bobbito. I'm pretty sure they put this out prior to the podcast being created. So it was probably a precursor for the podcast. So you should do the same thing. When you watch this, before you listen to the podcast, go watch the documentary. It's called Stretching Bobbito. It's on Netflix, and it basically, I want to say it chronicles. I'm trying to use journalistic words here. I think it chronicles their origin from how they started, basically how they met, to how they got where they are now. And it's real dope for me personally because it talks about how important it was, how important music is, and it makes me appreciate music that much more because it makes me value the tape. And a lot of the young guys, young girls, you may not know what I mean by the tape, but in the age before iTunes and Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, and whichever one I'm forgetting, before streaming period, and before iTunes or whatever, and Apple Music, the CDs, we had tapes, but everybody knows about the CDs. All you guys were live enough to know about the CDs, but the tape, the cassette tape, is what I'm gonna focus on here because the cassette tape was so important because that's how a lot of people got their music because you could record directly on the tape. And the show, the documentary tells about how they ended up, they got together, ended up being cool, they had a radio show in New York City that became ridiculously popular. And the crazy thing about it is it was on like late night Thursday nights, like super late Thursday. So you had to stay up late just to hear, and they were playing music that they liked. It's not like they had a program director or none of that bullshit telling them what they had to play. They played the music that they liked, and they broke a lot of artists. A lot of artists came up there and did interviews and put the music out there. People up there freestyling, like a lot of this shit we saw in the early 2000s, where you had Rockefeller going up and freestyling, like you had Freeway battling Cassidy and shit like that. A lot of stuff we see now via YouTube and the internet or whatever, they were doing way back in the early 90s. So yeah, artists like Busta Rhymes, Tribe Called Quest, Big L, Fat Joe, all these people that fell through Stretching Bobbito, the shitty little radio show. I'm not gonna say shitty, but it's like, low budget, poor time slide having radio show. Two local kids from New York City put it together and they made it work, man. They made it legendary. When they did the documentary, they went back and talked to some of the guests they had, and I think it was they did like a 20-year anniversary from when they did their last show, and they talked about everything from how they got there to when they kind of had their falling out to when they got back. But it's real dope, and it makes you value the tape because you hear about people older than us, older than me, talking about how they would record the tape because you were getting like exclusive songs. You were getting songs nobody else had, exclusive freestyles. And some people, like, I think Busta Rhymes said he would go make a killing. He would record the tapes and then go sell them at school the next day. He was making a killing off that shit. But it really makes you value music in this microwave era where a lot of people feel like it's not respected, not only by the people listening to it, but by the people creating it. Because when you had those tapes, and even the CDs, it's like, once something happened to that tape or that CD, you was fucked. You had to go buy a whole new tape or a new CD, and if it was something exclusive that you made, once you had that tape and it was gone, that was it. Like, I've watched documentaries where they talk about dudes having tapes and the tape pop and the cats having to figure out ways to get the tape back together. But it made the music, that much more valuable because you had to take care of what you had. And like, even I know the CDs were important for like my youth, that when you talk about a tape, it's so fragile, and you can make it your own, and you can mass produce it, and you can get it straight from the radio. You get it straight from the radio. You can record it off TV. Because I know if you were like me, watching Rap City in the '90s, before all this on-demand instant music, before even Music Choice, back when you were listening to the box and everything. Like for me, I recorded Rap City. I just put my brother's radio up to the TV, and I made a cold little tape off of Rap City. So somebody like me, who was at the time, I didn't have money for a CD, but I had a tape I could record over. I made my own mixtape. So, I was proud of that, and I wish I still had that tape to that day because it was fucking dope. But I can appreciate what they're talking about and how the quality of music is not really appreciated. It's actually depreciated, especially hip hop, because it's so disposable. Because you have artists like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole who put album out like every year, but they don't want to overdo it because they want you to actually like live with the music. Now we don't really take the time to listen to a whole album and kind of keep that album with us, even though it's right there on our phone. I know because I was guilty of this and had to slow down my music consumption because am I really appreciating the music? If I listen to it 3 or 4 times, then it's gone. You know, especially if it's good music. When you had that tape or that CD, you would take that with you everywhere. But you know, that feel of having, you know, the Walkman or the CD player, and you trying to walk, you know, you walking around with the shit on auto skip, hoping that you don't mess up your damn CD. We valued the music more. So for the consumer like us, I got to go spend $14 on a CD that could get scratched. Like if I'm gonna buy an album, it's got to be fucking good. So I'm only buying like fucking Jay-Z albums and maybe like a Nas album, or I'm only going to buy certain shit because of how fragile it was. So we had to go spend our money on the quality, not because of the, you know, the mixtape game came out and music went digital. There's like you can get an album and you lose it, you can get it right back in a matter of minutes. You could just go re-download it. But that CD that you had, that tape that you had, it was precious because, you know, if you lost it, you might have to get 14 more bucks to go back and get it. And when you were a kid and you don't have a job and you got to get this money off your parents, you can't just go, you know, it ain't always easy to go get money for a fucking album that your parents don't care about because you didn't take care of it. So I think we came up appreciating music more. We grew up before the music was so microwave, and you got to think now, if you're an artist, do you put your best shit out right now, or do you break it up? And that's why I'm saying that my thinking is that the music, the value has depreciated because back when you had to put shit on the tape, you had to give it your best because people were going to get those physical copies. You're going to get the physical, like they not just handing it on the radio like, oh, okay, this is cool, let me go stream this. Like, nah, people are actually going to buying the physical copies and living with your music and knowing it and getting familiar with it. Now, you know, album come out, okay, cool, we got 3 albums come out the same day. Shit, when I was coming, I had to pick. I'm either gonna get this ATLiens that just came out, or I'm gonna get this Nas album that just came out. I think it was written. I got to pick. You know, which one am I gonna get? Because I only got X amount of money, and I can't get both. Shit, now download both of these bitches, and I just stream them and see how I feel about them later, and then I'll fucking forget about them. And the artists now, they just don't care. They put trash out there. So if you want to make quality music, you got to select what you want to put out, and then maybe you keep something in the chamber before your next album, because you can't afford to not be hot. You got to make a dope enough album so that you live for a few months where everybody who's coming out between you comes out, and then you got to have something in the chamber for next year if you drop annually like that. So when Drake put his album out, J. Cole, Kendrick, Crit, whoever, when they put their album out, they got to make sure it's dope, because you got 55 other microwave rappers putting shit out, all trying to take their spot. So I'm assuming they keep some of the best shit in the chamber, because you got 30 people, you got 55 other artists coming out, and 10 of those may have a hit. 5 of those may stick around because the music is so microwave. It's going, it's changing. So they got to make sure they got shit in the chamber for next time around, because the people who bought that album probably they're not holding on to it as much, because now there's so much competition with music being so easy to put out and people having so much access to it. What's it worth? In the nutshell is what I'm saying. When you have, you know, elite artists putting shit out, but then you got somebody coming for the spot, and there's so much, it's like, what is it really worth? Because the game is oversaturated right now, and a lot of the game is trash. So that, in a nutshell, before my rant, that's what that documentary reinforced to me, the importance of quality music and appreciating the music. So, it's, like I said, it's a good podcast, a great documentary. If you got time, please go check it out. Get some of them hip-hop roots. And if you're a young boy and you don't really listen to shit like that, if you're not really messing with the J. Coles or whoever, the Kendricks and the Crits, go look at the documentary and just check out the essence of hip-hop. The bars and the beat, the boom and the bap, and the bars. Go get through some of that, and maybe you'll appreciate the music that's being made a little more. And the crazy thing about it is, one of my partners said he liked the ignorant shit, but he make music, which is crazy. So to me, I'm listening to it like, okay, if you like ignorant shit, you're willing to make ignorant shit. And what I've learned through my years of growing up is that ignorant shit don't last. The people that last in the music game that can still go on tour right now make quality music. That's why Nas and all of them are still relevant, because they make quality music. They make music that people can grow into. Nobody who listened to them Franchise Boys years ago is going to go back and listen to them Franchise Boys. Their kids aren't going to go back and listen to them Franchise Boys because it's trash. They're not going to go back and listen to like a Little John song. It's all scrappy. All that shit was garbage, in my humble opinion. All that shit was trash. And that shit was there for that time period. It was there, and then it was gone. And while it was a hit, it really wasn't shit. Because you can go listen to It Ain't Hard to Tell, and that shit is still dope. You listen to them Nas verses, still get motivated to go put that pen to paper. You listen to fucking old Reasonable Doubt, it still make you want to put the pen to the paper. Even old KRS-One, MC Shan, you listen to that sound, it still makes you, it kind of motivates you to want to go rap. But you can't take a kid from here and then go put him on now. He'd be like, this what y'all listening to? This was garbage. The shit they talking about in my white tee? Are you crazy? 8-Town Stomp? This is ridiculous. They go back and listen to it, look at us like we crazy. But those quality artists from back in the day, still relevant. Them other guys, get them the fuck out of here. And it's because you can't realize, and I said it to somebody, and I kind of got into a Facebook debate a while ago about this shit. It's like, if you weren't there in the time frame that certain music came out, you won't be able to get it. Now you can go back and appreciate Nas in his heyday and listen to like, yeah, this shit is dope, but you won't get it if you weren't in that time frame. But Nas is so talented that style, that his music will carry on. It's classic. OJZ so classic that it's gonna carry on. Even like, let's say Big Daddy Kane, let's say old NWA, all that's gonna carry on because it's classic. Ice-T, 6 in the Morning, Ghetto Boy, Scarface, it's all gonna carry on because it's good classic music. All the old Outkast shit, all the Wu-Tang stuff, you can listen to it. You can't listen to it, them Franchise Boys or old bullshit-ass Lil Jon song or fucking Cuckoo Cow or whoever and get something from it the same way, because that music was based off, it wasn't based off substance, it was based off energy. And if you weren't there at that time frame to understand where that came from, you won't get it. It's just like cats that be like, if you born in fucking 1998 and you saying Michael Jordan the greatest player of all time, you look fucking crazy to me because you didn't even see Mike play. Like, I gotta ask myself, do I feel like Kobe's better or Michael's better? I saw Kobe play as a man. I saw Michael play as a child. At what point in my life could I appreciate the game of basketball more? At what point in my life could I understand the game and understand the system of how things work, right? So that just goes to my point. If you weren't at a certain time frame, can you really appreciate it? And that's why I'm saying, go back and look at this documentary, and it'll help you kind of get that energy for why the shit is so classic, why the sound was what it was, and how it carried on to still be, relevant to this day. So with that being said, I'm gonna step off my soapbox, man, and I hope y'all enjoy this. But once again, that's What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito. That's the podcast, and the Netflix documentary is called Stretch and Bobbito. Please go check it out. For my hip-hop heads out there, please go check it out. Once again, if you guys want to get in contact with me, it is noplayingthisride@gmail.com, all lowercase. noplayingthisride@gmail.com, all lowercase. Please give me some feedback, but be kind, because I will tell your ass if you come at me crazy. I'm just saying. I'm still one of them. I still come for you. Also, NoPlay247, capital N, lowercase o, capital P, LAY at Twitter. Hit me up, man. Get my follower game up, man. I'm trying to get me some followers so I can start doing shit with it. And maybe I'll figure out how to do a giveaway or something, like a Starbucks card or maybe like an Amazon card or iTunes card or something. Holidays coming up, I'll figure out some type of bum-ass contest to get people involved. But give me some feedback, listen, subscribe, rate, review. Also, if you need beats, Brooks on the Beat, my man, Brooks. So that's www.soundcloud/BrooksOnTheBeat. www.soundcloud/BrooksOnTheBeat. Beat maker, rapper, audio engineer. Help me help my homeboy out while he helps you getting your music together and getting your sounds right. www.soundcloud.com/BrooksOnTheBeat. If you need music, my man, Weeks, got a website, record label, www.newjackcity.net. New Jack City Music, out of Jacksonville, Florida. My player partner, Weeks. If you're interested in getting down with the Jax Community Expo in Jacksonville, Florida, my man Scarver, he has a Facebook page for that. So it's Jax Community and Families Expo, I think is what it's called. I'm going to get the name right at some point. And when I'm able to get the link to put down in the description, I'll be able to put it in there. But I've been messing that up because I'm retarded or whatever. But it's a Facebook page, so it's Jack's Community and Families Expo, I think is what it's called. And they do them every year. And like I said before, it's a chance for big businesses, small businesses to come and get together with the community and, you know, reach out to the customers and I guess get feedback from the customers or whatever. They have things for kids there. They do back to school giveaways. They had a bounce house. So please, go check it out. It's something for the community, man. Like I said, if you got anybody I need to talk about, need to highlight, if you want me to shed some light on somebody doing something for the community, somebody that came from nothing to something, doing something in business, let me know so I can highlight them. Mario, Silence, I'm coming for you. Vita, I'm coming for you and your Alcavita. My man Highland, I'm coming for you. I'm going to talk about you a little bit on here, whether you like it or not. If you're doing something good, I'm going to talk about you. If you're doing bad and doing bullshit, I'm going to ignore you. So help me shine that light on people, man. Once again, thank you to all my loyal listeners. Do me a favor, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend until that friend already knows. So tell everybody. Go ahead and listen. Peace and love. Leave it better than how you got it. You know what I mean? I fucked that up. So leave everything better than you got it. Improve. Build up. Bricks and pyramids. Peace. I'm out. No playing this ride. Blackout. Gone.